This video follows two video distributors as they explore the overgrown ruins of what used to be a factory town. While navigating through the difficult terrain, they talk about a homeless man and discuss previous incidents at the site. After making their way into a dangerous, dilapidated building with a rough floor, they check a specific area. One of them looks and says, "Kupika aku sedang melihatmu," referring to the homeless man. But when they check again, he is completely gone.
ある廃墟に動画配信者2人が
で、なんか工場兼住居みたいな感じで
調べてきた内容を話しながら現場を確認している。
あるけど
入ったらまずいよね。
そうまあそんな寝てて、まあ寝てたっていうかこれすごいね。いるわ。これか。いやこれ
危ないね。これ床が雲の先から気をつけて。どっち？上。
そっちは
ね。
危なくていけないからね。やめて。
奥はやめた方がいいと思う。
で。まあ進めないんで。
The host later clarifies that while an autopsy in a well nearby only found gasoline, the body of an undocumented worker was eventually discovered at this location. It's also rumored that after this visit, the streamer suffered from a severe, persistent high fever. A group of friends are on their way to a well-known haunted spot, driving through a dense, forest-like area. The atmosphere in the car is light and they are all laughing, despite saying how scary the tunnel looks. Their carefree adventure takes a petrifying turn when they reach a section of the road where the trees completely overarch, forming a dark, maze-like tunnel. As they drive under the trees, they suddenly notice something terrifying hanging from a branch right in front of them. It's described only as kaki kayu yang mentioned ikabawa. Just as quickly as it appears, it suddenly and completely vanishes, leaving the group deeply shaken and panicked about what they just witnessed. During a trip to Tokyo, a father and his son decide to take a break from their main business and enjoy some sightseeing. The father is recording their walk through the city and gets excited, stopping to film everything, from an unusual number of vending machines to various karaoke signs. As they are walking peacefully together, the camera inadvertently captures something disturbing.
でも珍しいようで、いちいち立ち止まっては撮影を頼む。
As they cross a busy street, a mysterious figure can be seen vaguely floating gently across the pedestrian crosswalk. The truly unsettling fact is that this location is confirmed to be the site of a tragic bus accident in the past, where a child died due to personal negligence. Summer interview. What seemed like a routine outdoor interview for a news program about summer vacation takes a terrifying and unscripted turn. A couple is being interviewed in a park, discussing their chosen destination for the holidays. Suddenly, the camera captures an unexpected and sinister event. As the battery in the microphone runs low, the male host is seen scrambling to replace it. It's during this chaotic moment that something bone-chilling occurs. A terrifying, white-clothed woman appears from the shadows, first lurking in the background behind the couple. Then, you can clearly see her advancing, as if intending to attack the camera itself. While some have suggested it could be a well-timed prank, the raw footage tells a far more sinister story. In this next clip, a RUCO writer goes on a clandestine mission to report on a specific event at a production RUCO. The crew is conducting interviews based on a specific reading. They attempt to interview residents, but they are met with complete silence. As the cameraman turns the camera towards the ceiling of the protective structure, pay close attention to what is captured in the shadows.
ご自宅に向かってます。
こんにちは、ごめんください。
はい。じゃあ失礼します。はい。県警の方でされてますんで。
そうですか。
拝見させていただくことはできないです。
今ちょっと散らかっていて。
A distorted figure that resembles a severely burned person is seen. The truly chilling part is that this entity is moving with actions that appear to ignore gravity, a motion described as unlike any normal human movement. The host suggests this figure is likely connected to a past production accident. An interview with a man caught playing golf on a riverbank where it's forbidden turns into a bone-chilling mystery. The man is arguing with the crew, vehemently denying that he was playing golf and insists he's just walking. During the tense exchange, something terrifying is captured.
普段はですね、こういうことで今日は第一発見者の方に、現場に来ていただいて、
第一発見者にレポーターが取材している。警察の調べによると、遺体には刺し傷があった事件にショックを隠せない様子の発見者たち。剣の匂いがしている。
近くで、いつも通るところなので、余計なかなか。
Re-examining the footage, a figure resembling a woman appears from the shadows and appears to be watching them.
この辺りでやってるんですけど、
この辺りね。
いつもまあね、
そうわからないけどね。
とね、
考えもしなかった。
死体だった
この辺りに流れ着いていたと。
はい。
そういうことですか。
This capture is particularly disturbing given the local rumors of past tragedies. The man seems to notice the figure and abruptly leaves the area. The host describes this figure as giving a message, leading many to believe it's the restless spirit of someone who lost their life in this river. Clip comes from a seemingly innocuous infomercial, where the crew was filming bridge shots of everyday people walking through a public space. For most, this footage is nothing more than ordinary background filler. But for those with a sharp eye, it's what they caught that is truly bone-chilling. As two women pass each other in the crowd, pay close attention to the space directly between them. For a brief, flickering moment, the terrifying and unmoving figure of a woman with long hair can be seen appearing from the shadows. The raw translation describes her as giving off a horrifying unearthly look. Local legends tell of unexplained disappearances in this area. Could this be the ghost of one of the missing, now a lost soul lingering among the living? You decide. A reporter is visiting the grounds of a large apartment complex to investigate a disturbing local story. He mentions that people are drawn to this property, but there are countless terrifying events, with rumors on Twitter that a person commits suicide here once a month. The apartment complex is mostly abandoned, with rusty, unusable equipment. The reporter investigates a door that is described as mysterious and cannot be opened, noting that children might use a playground nearby, but the area is otherwise deserted.
となっております。さて、この物件なんですけども、実はもうついておりません。使うことはできないような形になっておりますね。ますけども、セミの声が非常に聞けるんでしょうか。ご覧ください。ご覧のように遊具なんかはね、非常に多くあります物件ですのでね、皆さんもしかしたら気味が悪くなってしまったのではないかな。そしてご覧ください。洗濯物は一つも干されておりません。ということはそうですかね。草が生えてしまっておりまして、いるという証なのか、それとも違うのか、出てきてくださいね。そうですね、もしかしたら白い雲だらけといいますか、これが目立っております。こちら横についていたものが縦になってしまっているんですよね。先ほどからいろんな虫がふわふわと飛んでおりますね。浴びておりますね。虫もね、地面のところが錆びてしまってですね。
Re-examining the footage of the initial interview, a mysterious figure, potentially connected to a past suicide, is inexplicably seen in the distance, slowly and gradually approaching the reporter, and is eventually right in front of the camera. This footage was filmed during a routine May report for a local television station. A reporter visits a food stall, interviewing the owner about their unique dessert offerings. While they are discussing the ingredients, a violent earthquake suddenly strikes. The camera captures the reporter's initial shock as the stall is plunged into total darkness. Then, you can clearly see the director giving urgent evacuation orders to the crew. But pay close attention to the reporter during this chaotic moment.
なんか変な揺れ。あ、はいや。まあまあ。本当。もうし飲み物。悪いの自信ないですからね。
As she is scrambling to flee, she later reported feeling a bone-chilling and unexplained sensation on her leg. When investigators carefully examined the footage, they discovered a terrifying, pale hand reaching out from the shadows and tightly grabbing her leg, just as the chaos was unfolding. This next segment was caught on video while a model was being filmed during a photo shoot for a photo book making a feature. For most, this footage is nothing more than casual behind-the-scenes content. But as the crew is setting up a shot, the model is suddenly plunged into a state of total darkness and terror. The camera shakes as a loud crash is heard, and she is seen screaming and scrambling away from a park bench. Then, you can clearly see her director rushing over to check on her. The bone-chilling truth of what she saw was only revealed after carefully re-examining the footage. A pale, hand-like entity with long, stringy fingers can be seen reaching up from a small gap within the park bench, as if trying to grasp something. What do you think? Explained or unexplained? This footage comes from a security camera in a studio where an aspiring idol is alone, practicing her dance routine. She takes a break, crying on the floor because she is emotional and stressed about an upcoming performance. After a phone call, she returns to practice. As she is weeping, keep your eyes on the mirror behind her, specifically to the left of a statue's reflection. The pale, gaunt face of a woman is inexplicably seen, seemingly attached to a humanoid form and staring directly at the crying idol. The host explains that the entity's expression cannot be determined, but it's believed to be the source of the girl's abnormal behavior, potentially feeding on her negative emotions. This next video comes from a program where participants are touring historical stone monuments with a group of experts. The experts are describing the various stone markers, which are so numerous they are said to resemble skin. One monument in particular is built to honor the military training of Japanese soldiers, and as the narrator explains, it's also a monument about sorrow and the desire for material goods. As the camera introduction, pay close attention to the outline on its surface.
女性3人が死体遺棄事件
上で
そう
一人ずつやっちゃったってことなんだ。
乱暴して
うわ、怖っ。なんかあれみたいな、なんだろう、そのあれみたいだよね。
いや、本当にね、
それだね、それ。遺棄されちゃったってことだ。捨てられたっていうか。
あまり人が寄りつかなそうな場所である。
川とかは確か
恐るべきことに、なんと女性さんに
犯人は捕まってないよ。だって
そこには
犯人考えてないと思う。
考えてなかったんだ。
なんか靴とかだけど量販品らしいんだよね。わかんない。でもね、
怖いなこれ。
人一人投げ捨てんのめちゃくちゃしんどいからね。ここのすぐ脇んとこ。この辺り山狩りが一応行われてるらしいんだけど。
A mysterious figure appears that seems to be a constellation of ghostly Japanese soldiers, which can be seen gently dissolving into the monument's rock face. A female talent was allegedly filming a casual video diary to share with her fans. She oversleeps on a crucial filming day and is shown in the footage rushing out of her apartment, visibly panicking as she checks the time. But the truly unsettling and bone-chilling part is what she accidentally captured. As she is talking to the camera and rushes past a window in her hallway, you can clearly see the terrifying and unmoving face of a woman with long hair looking out from the shadows. The entity is perfectly motionless, giving off an unsettling and malicious look. Some have even suggested that the unworldly face she caught may have already been waiting for her, as if a sinister presence had already latched onto the talent herself. Collection we turn to unaired, frame-by-frame raw footage that was intended for a news program about financial distress. A reporter is seen interviewing a debt collector inside an apartment. The conversation is intense, with the collector arguing with the staff over specific payments. But things suddenly escalate as the debt collector is seen growing angry, kicking a table with significant force. Pay close attention to the space beneath the table during this explosive outburst.
お店の金額、普通にお店に入って、ビールを飲んで、少し食べて、それで50万円食ってる。いや、年初って書いてあるんだよ。年初ですよ。年初の意味ご存知ですか？だから、年初って書いてあるんじゃねえか。持ってきたところでどうにもなんねえだろ。いて、母印まで押してある。こちら、うち持っていけば、何でしょう、当日、お金がないということで、お支払いしますということでサインが。怖いなぁ。怖いですね。凶悪ですか？家族と悲しまれるの家族ですよね。ここでやってんのにさ、そうってだってなんだろうさ、
For a brief, flickering moment, the single, unmoving eye of a human-like figure with long hair can be seen looking out from the total darkness. The raw translation even suggests that this unexplained entity could be the restless spirit of a previous victim, trapped and watching from the other side. Footage was allegedly captured during the filming of a hidden camera variety show. The premise was a test of loyalty, with a popular idol confronting her manager about quitting the industry. The conversation starts off on a seemingly normal trajectory, with the manager pleading with the idol to reconsider, mentioning contract obligations and future penalty fees. However, things take a terrifying turn as the discussion grows increasingly intense. When experts later reviewed the footage, they discovered a chilling sight. A ferocious entity, described as a fearsome existence, can be seen appearing from a bag inside the dark office. This discovery has led many to believe that the idol's internal struggle may have summoned something truly sinister. Captured on camera, a talent agency allegedly submitted this footage of a new talent contract signing, intending to share the behind-the-scenes process with fans. The footage shows the staff member kindly explaining the contract details and future job opportunities to the aspiring model. But things suddenly escalate as something bone-chilling is caught on tape. The staff member glances towards a window in the background and is seen growing visibly unsettled, though she tries to ignore it. Paying close attention to the reflection in the window, a terrifying and unmoving white-clothed woman can be seen appearing from the shadows. A female broadcaster is filming muscle training in her apartment to upload to a video site, introducing her daily routine. During a moment when she appears to be talking to herself to add a narrative, her training is interrupted by a disturbing anomaly. As she is about to answer a question, a voice, which is described as sounding like her mother, inexplicable cuts in. The host explains that this room was previously occupied by someone who was incredibly lonely, and it's believed that the happy conversation of a family might have drawn the entity out. When the footage is re-examined, A strange figure with a masculine appearance can be confirmed in the reflection of her thick hair, lurking just behind her. We conclude our list with terrifying footage from a local station's late-night test signal broadcast. The scene is deeply unsettling and captured only by a security camera. As the screen displays a standard color test signal pattern, a series of visual distortions and static can be seen suddenly materializing on the monitor. It's what happens after the sandstorm clears that is truly bone-chilling. As the clock hits 4:46 a.m., a single, horrifying eye appears on the screen, looking directly out from the darkness. Then, you can clearly see a terrifying, black-clothed figure materializing from the shadows and advancing toward the camera itself.
A small pathway was lined with silent trees when a faint shape appeared beside the road. It moved without disturbing the leaves or gravel beneath it, trailing a pale outline that faded in and out like breath against glass. A distant breeze carried no sound, yet there was the sense of someone walking beside the traveler. The apparition did not turn or acknowledge anything around it, only drifting forward as if retracing a final journey. The air thickened, still and heavy, until the figure dissolved the same way it arrived, leaving only the hollow quiet behind. Along a narrow set of steps, a quiet presence moved steadily upward. Each ascent looked weightless, as though gravity no longer applied. The atmosphere shifted the moment it appeared, as if the air paused mid-current to make room. The figure reached the landing and turned, not with intent, but as though repeating the same motion from an older moment trapped in time. It vanished before touching the final stair, leaving a stillness that felt colder than the night itself. Inside a vacant corridor, an outline formed against the far end of the hall. Its posture was rigid and unmoving, as if anchored to a memory long abandoned by the living. The walls seemed colder near it, the air heavy enough to alter breathing. No footsteps echoed, yet the presence carried the weight of someone waiting. When the observer blinked, it had shifted closer without crossing the ground between. A moment later, the space where it had stood was empty, but the chill remained pressed against the skin like frost.
ポイントね。いや、これは、いや、こうは、当時のものを見て、これすごいんじゃないですか。いや、これ、1ポイント。ですよね。1ポイントか。いや、もうあれ、ありますよね、いろんなものが。当時のものがやっぱ残ってるというか、ゴミが怖い。いや、怖いよ。やっぱね。
A lantern swayed gently though no wind stirred. Beneath its faint glow, something stood at the margin of sight. Its outline was shapeless yet unmistakably watching, tethered to the dim aura of the flickering light. The ground beneath it held no shadow, only a faint distortion as if the earth itself was uncertain the figure belonged there. A still reflection hovered along the surface of the window, but there was no figure behind the glass to cast it. The outline leaned closer, almost curious, its features indistinct yet unmistakably human. The dim interior lights flickered as if drawn toward it, responding to an unseen pull. The reflection lingered long enough for the observer to feel watched rather than stumbled upon. A distant silhouette appeared beside an abandoned walkway, its posture motionless except for a faint tilt of the head. The faintest shift of air trailed lightly over the skin, colder than the surrounding breeze. No sound followed, and yet the moment felt occupied, as though someone unseen took careful notice. It remained only long enough to be certain it was not a trick of distance. Then, without departure movement, it simply ceased to be, leaving a lingering awareness where it had stood.
ちょっとやめようと思ってんだよね。ちょっとね、そういうのも含め、はい、するみたいな。でもさ、騒ぐとさ、すぐ迷惑系 YouTuber とかって言われちゃうからさ、そういうの。
In a quiet clearing, a faint outline emerged between two trees, its form wavering like heat on pavement. The sound of cicadas dulled, replaced by a hush that spread through the grass. The figure tilted forward as if searching, its gaze fixed on something long gone from the world. It neither approached nor receded, lingering in fragile stasis. Only when the wind returned did the clearing release its grip and the presence dissolved without trace. A shape drifted near the edge of an old footbridge, suspended above the water without touching its surface. Its reflection did not form beneath it, though the ripples suggested something present. The stillness grew heavier the longer it stayed, like time folding inward. The figure leaned forward as if to listen to something unseen before retreating into the surrounding mist. When it vanished, the water settled again, as though nothing had ever interrupted its calm. A dim room held the sense of another person long before anything was seen. The curtains swayed despite untouched hair, and a shadow formed where no object stood. Its shape took on definition only in profile, refusing clarity face on. The longer it lingered, the more it felt like someone remembering the room rather than occupying it. Then the stillness loosened and the shape slipped apart grain by grain, leaving the room unchanged yet not quite empty. A narrow hallway carried a low temperature that had not been there a moment before. At the far end, a motionless form rested against the wall, soundless yet profoundly present. The outline trembled faintly as if made of breath rather than substance. A sensation of being observed deepened the quiet until the space felt smaller than before. Then the figure slipped out of sight, leaving the hall empty except for the echo of stillness. A narrow lane carried an echo that belonged to no footsteps present. At its center, a faint silhouette waited, barely discernible against the gloom. The closer one looked, the less detail it offered, as though resisting form. A low quiet wrapped around the moment until sound itself seemed to withdraw.
嘘だろ？おい、おい、おい、
A silent figure stood just beyond a threshold, neither stepping in nor leaving. Its faint edges blurred each time the observer blinked, like a memory refusing full clarity. A shifting blur appeared against an old stone surface, forming the faint suggestion of a body leaning there. The air felt weightless yet oppressive, as though attention itself had taken physical shape. The outline held still for several breaths before straightening as if responding to something distant. It began to recede, not by walking. A corner of the room deepened into darker shadow, until the outline of a person began to surface from within. The shape felt older than the walls containing it, belonging to a time that had not yet finished departing. It remained still, unmoved by the present moment. After a breathless pause, the darkness thinned and the walls reclaimed their shape, but the sense of being observed remained like a weight resting behind the ribs. A deserted walkway briefly hosted a pale silhouette that hovered just beyond arm's reach. Its presence stilled every noise nearby, shrinking the world to silence. The figure gave no gesture, no sign of intention, only a quiet gravity that drew awareness toward it. When the air shifted again, the outline thinned like smoke given to wind, vanishing without leaving so much as warmth or cold behind. The faint suggestion of a person appeared near a gate, its outline wavering like reflection through shallow water. The air tightened around the space, compressing sound until a ringing stillness filled the moment. The figure turned slightly, not with interaction, but repetition, repeating a gesture older than memory. At the edge of a narrow path, a solitary shape faced away from the world. It did not move even as its outline flickered at the edges. The silence that accompanied it felt pulled taut, wrapped around the encounter like invisible thread. Then, without turning or departing, it dissolved outward from its center, leaving only empty path where it once stood. An empty footpath brightened faintly as if reacting to something unseen crossing it. A human shape drifted through the light without casting shadow or altering surface. Its pace was unhurried, as though reenacting a passage from long ago. After a few steps, the figure paused as if recalling something once familiar. Then its edges unraveled and the path stood vacant again.
ここですね。はい、やってきました。あ？
A translucent figure lingered beside a quiet fence, still as frost. Its form held for several long seconds, caught between appearing and vanishing. The moment felt preserved, like a pocket of time slipped away from movement. Slowly, the outline faded strand by strand until nothing remained. The stillness outlasted the sight of it, as though the air needed time to release what had passed through. Near a lonely railing, an unseen chill settled across the ground before the figure appeared. Its outline blurred at the edges like it was stitched from cold air in memory. It remained a silent observer, still as the structure beside it. The world around seemed to hesitate, unwilling to disturb the scene. With no sound or step, the figure slipped into absence, leaving only the weight of stillness behind. A faint silhouette formed near a quiet crossway, shifting only enough to prove it was not a shadow. The air around it held a stillness that resisted breath, as though the moment itself refused to pass. The figure leaned forward slightly, its posture unreadable yet unmistakably aware of something unseen. Nothing in the space moved except for the sense of presence. Then it thinned into the dimness, leaving the crossway unchanged but not restored. A soft outline waited near a wooden beam, unmoving but undeniably present. The silence surrounding it grew thick, dampening every trace of sound. The figure's stillness suggested not focus, but continuation, like a moment repeating itself beyond the reach of the living. Only when the atmosphere lightened did the outline weaken, dissolving into the space it had interrupted.
それでもうちょいこうではい。
A corridor dimmed without warning, and a human shape surfaced at its midpoint. It offered no motion, yet its posture gave the sense of something standing on the border of arrival and departure. The walls seemed to draw inward around it, narrowing the space with presence alone. For a moment the encounter felt held outside time. Then the shape vanished like breath and winter, leaving nothing but quiet.
You're not back in. Look how fast this goes.
A faint figure rested just beyond a gatepost, barely tethered to the surface of the world. The surrounding stillness pressed inward as though reverence or memory held the air in place. The outline lingered long enough to imprint itself in awareness. Then, without motion or farewell, it disappeared like a page turned in silence. On a quiet stretch of walkway, a presence appeared without procession or signal. Its form was faint but certain, carried by a stillness that spread outward. There was no approach, no retreat, only existing, suspended between moments. When it finally dispersed, it did so like mist drawn thin by distance, leaving the space unburdened but not untouched. A distant form appeared at the center of a clearing, unobstructed and unhidden. Yet it remained untouchable, as if layered one step outside reality. Its pale presence made the clearing feel narrower, as though everything leaned in around it. When it faded, the atmosphere released a subtle slackening, like a held breath exhaled too late. A faint shape hovered near the lip of a walkway, swaying without wind. The space felt condensed around it, as if time bent inward for its return. It gave the impression of someone waiting for recognition long forgotten. When it disappeared, the world seemed momentarily wider, as though the place had lost a weight unseen. A silent form rested beside a fence corner, half merged with shadow. The presence was not loud nor hostile, only persistently existing where no one should stand. The moment thickened until the world felt distanced, as though the observer and the figure occupied different layers of the same place. Then the corner emptied, returning to ordinary shape with uncanny speed. A slender outline drifted into view along a narrow lane, never once touching the earth it hovered over. The world seemed paused around it, clipped of motion and sound. Its posture carried the stillness of someone waiting for something that would never return. Within moments, its features hollowed into transparency and then slipped into nothing at all. A faint body shape emerged along a railing as though molded from breath. It carried no sound but imposed a silence. The stillness tethered it to the moment like a forgotten echo. Gradually its edges softened and fell away from sight, the world resuming only after the last trace vanished. A dim silhouette leaned beside a narrow post, still enough to resemble a smear of shadow before sharpening into form. The quiet that surrounded it felt too heavy for a breeze, too still for breath. For a long moment the figure seemed anchored there, neither approaching nor retreating. Then its edges resigned to air and the post stood alone again.
とりあえず分かんなかったら電話するよ。うん。
A solitary form rested near the base of a stair. Its posture suggested neither ascent nor descent, only remaining. Time lingered there longer than expected, as though the encounter belonged to another moment still echoing through the present. The shape diminished gently, slipping into the surrounding air until only memory remained. The atmosphere shifted before the figure appeared, like a soft vacuum of presence folding into place. It stood at a distance, blurred but precise in outline. No motion marked its arrival nor its fading, only a change in the space it occupied. The stillness lengthened until it felt stretched thin, and then the figure was gone. A presence formed beside a long stretch of walkway, its stature unmoving yet observant. The air cooled without breeze, thickening like frost suspended in place. It seemed fixed to a memory rather than a location. After a pause that stretched too far to feel natural, the outline lifted from the world and was no more. At the turn of a narrow lane, a silent silhouette flickered into view and held there without purpose. The space around it took on a hush that bent sound away. It remained long enough for certainty but not comprehension. Then it dissipated, leaving no evidence that anything had stood there at all. A faint outline surfaced beside a railing, poised as though remembering rather than watching. Its edges trembled softly with the stillness of distant memory. Time felt slow in its presence, stretched across a moment that refused to pass. When it vanished, the quiet loosened around the space like uncoiled breath. A motionless figure appeared beneath a small overhang, subtly bright against the dimness. The moment tightened, narrowing the world to that one vantage. It neither advanced nor withdrew, only existed like a remnant caught between seconds. Then its brightness thinned, leaving emptiness shaped like its departure. A final silhouette appeared at the edge of a quiet walkway, faint and unwavering. The moment trapped around it like a sealed pocket of silence. It stayed long enough to feel deliberate, as though fulfilling a return rather than a visit. Then, without transition or gesture, it thinned into absence, leaving the path untouched but forever altered by its presence.